Story 1. A Large Shadow. Years ago, back in the summer of 2015, I was driving through Indiana when my car broke down. Unfortunately, at the time I was pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and I had nobody to contact. Luckily, my father, as a gift for Christmas, had paid for an entire year of AAA, which this is the one and only time I'd ever needed to use it, and thankfully it came in handy. It took about 2 hours before a tow truck would even arrive, so I just spent most of my time sitting in my car on the side of the road, and I didn't even see another single soul. I knew I was out in the middle of nowhere, but I didn't realize I was that far out, where nobody else really comes. It's not like I was on a dirt gravel road in the middle of a deep forest. Sure, there was not much else around me, but large empty fields and agriculture off in the distance. But I never realized the road was that desolate. Finally, about 2 hours goes by, and the tow truck arrives. We start talking, and he gets my truck on the back of his. I'm getting about ready to hop in the cab, as he's going to take me to where I'm going, when I happen to look over and catch movement coming towards me and him. A very tall, black figure that would look to be a man, but was increasing speed steadily, heading right in our direction. I stopped and told the driver, "Hey, do you see that?" And the tow truck guy looks, kind of clueless at first, and we both see this large human figure coming towards us. It was broad daylight, the sun was shining, it was beautiful, but yet all we could see was just a dark silhouette, and it was increasingly picking up speed, heading right in our direction. It looked like just a really large man, covered in all black, like a giant white shadow. I told him, we should get out of here. I'm kind of getting freaked out. And without saying another word, we both hopped in the tow truck, and off we drove. I looked out the passenger side window, and as we were pulling away, this thing still was continuing to pursue us in the direction that we were. This thing was pretty far out there, so it's not like it sprinted towards us, but it never stopped coming towards us, and as we drove away, further and further down the road, I lost sight of it. I still, to 2020, have no way to explain what I saw, but I'm just glad that I had a witness who saw it with me, and we both know we're not crazy. When I was in the cab, I asked him, "What do you think it is?" He kind of just shrugged his shoulders, unfazed by it, saying he's seen some weird stuff on the job, but never anything like that. And when I asked him, "What do you think it was?" he just told me he wasn't sure. And that was pretty much the end of that conversation. Story 2. Goblin in the Woods. About 8 years ago, 2012, 2013, I get my time frames mixed up, but somewhere right around then, I was going to go visit relatives for the holidays. In fact, it was probably 2 or 3 days after Christmas, and I was going to go visit my wife's cousins for them to open their gifts. They have family that serve in the military and family that fly in, so it was our chance to all get together and have Christmas together. The whereabouts of this family, they're kind of tucked away. When you're driving on a major highway, you have to pull into a small town and drive past that small town. About another 20 miles when it goes deep into a national forest. After a ways, you'll come to a turnoff on your left, where it goes into a small community, basically carved out of the woods. Go a little further, and you'll eventually come upon their house. My sighting occurred right before I took the main left pull-off to pull into this community. As I'm slowing down, with my blinker on, getting ready to turn, this little figure jumps out onto the road, quickly notices my vehicle and then flies off the side of the road that it came from. I kind of was astonished. I had to double take, trying to think, did I just see that? Or did I imagine that? What jumped out or leapt out onto the road looked to be, and I kid you not, about a 3 to 4 foot tall, humanoid-looking goblin or ogre-looking thing. The closest visual that comes to my mind is the goblins from the Lord of the Rings movie. But that doesn't quite do it justice. It did look a little different, but kind of in the vein of that. Very ugly, very discolored, hunched over, gross, and only about 3 to 4 feet tall. It also appeared to be naked and have long, straggly hair. As soon as it leapt out onto the road, it quickly saw my oncoming vehicle, and its facial expression showed one of fright and surprise. Then it quickly, without even thinking, hopped back to the right where it came from, and was gone. Both sides of the roads are forest, and in the dead of night, in winter, I wasn't about to go out, get out of my car, and look around. I'm on the road after all. I halted on my brakes and screamed a few choice words you could probably imagine. Of course, I tried to shake it off, because by the time I got to go see my family, I felt embarrassed to mention what I'd saw. They probably would have laughed at me and told me I obviously had a few beers before coming here, didn't I? So I just kept it to myself. Didn't even bother to tell any of my family or friends outside of that meeting. I wish I could tell you what I saw, because I honestly don't know. Story 3. Strange lights coming toward us. Back when I was still in high school in the late 90s, I was probably 16 or 17, and my best friend, who was a grade and a year higher than me, had just gotten his license. We decided to celebrate one night. It was probably a Friday or Saturday. He took me out, and I had really been wanting to try smoking cigarettes. So, him being 18, bought a pack, and we were going to go smoke some. We pulled off quite a ways into a forest and down an old logging road where there was sure nobody to be around. Let me just emphasize that we were truly in the middle of nowhere. Not a soul was around. The logging road we were down hadn't been used in a very, very long time. It was in pretty rough conditions. The road, or what road had been there, was now pretty overgrown, along with all the forest around. It looked like it hadn't been used in years. Even the area we were in, we had to drive about 30 minutes out here. We were pretty close to a national forest too, I think. Or maybe in one. I don't remember. My friend told me this is the best spot to do this, that him and his girlfriend used to come out here and make out. So, we pulled out a couple cigarettes and got them lit up, and started enjoying a nice smoke, when both of us see this mysterious light off not too far, directly in front of us. My friend stops smoking and says, "Do you see that? What is that?" It looked, or appeared to be, like somebody swaying a lantern far out, except it was extremely bright and was white, kind of like a modern-day LED lantern, but it resembled nothing of a lantern, and it was hovering, maybe 10 to 20 feet in the air, just staying stationary, not moving. Both my friend and I were very curious. It was dark, considering it was still winter, and there was nobody out here, not a soul. Plus, nothing really made sense to why there would be a light just hanging there, not moving, and it suddenly appearing. Within seconds, we both felt a charge of static electricity, kind of like if you take a balloon and rub it against your hair really hard. That same kind of staticky feeling, but all over your body. Both of our hair, all over our body was raising up, reacting to it. I told my friend, "Dude, I'm freaking out. Look at this." Him and I both were starting to freak, both keeping look at the light ahead of us. The light was now starting to move, coming toward our direction. We weren't sure what to do, so my friend threw the key into the ignition and tried to start the car, but it was completely dead. Nothing would turn on, not even his interior lights. Now we're both panicking, not sure what's going on or what we should do. And just as quickly as this light appeared, just suddenly disappeared, and him trying to rev up his engine now magically turned on. As soon as it turned on, the headlights also turned on, revealing all light in the direction that the light was, revealing nothing, nobody being there. This creeped us out pretty bad. We threw the pack of cigarettes out the window, along with the cigarettes we lit, and we drove out of there pretty quickly, vowing never to smoke cigarettes again. My friend took it as a sign from God that he shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. Me, I just chalk it up to some crazy experience out in the middle of nowhere. Possibly aliens, possibly supernatural. I don't know, but one thing is for sure, there is no explanation for what happened. If you or somebody you know has a story or encounter they would like to share with me or for me to read on this channel, please submit it to stories@whatlurksbeneath.com. You can find the email in the description below.